Let's talk right now about the royals. Of course, we've seen a lot of royals over the last couple of days. Remembrance Sunday service. We finally saw Kate making an appearance. Sadly, the Queen unable to make it due to a chest infection. But let's talk to Rupert Bell, talks royal correspondent, about more royal stories in the news. Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon to you, Rupert.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, I mean, a lot of people very happy to see Kate again after all her cancer treatment this last year. She's only made a few public appearances, standing at the Foreign Office balcony overlooking the Remembrance Day service, a very important part of the royal commitments over the year and their engagements over the year. Today has been mentioned about Keir Starmer over in Paris at Armistice Day, but a lot of the focus now is very much on other royals in the news, particularly Prince Andrew. Mail on Sunday focusing on how on earth he's able to keep staying in that 30-room or 30-bedroomed royal lodge in Windsor. Either way, a sodding big house, which costs a fortune to keep the upkeep, not just the rent, but the upkeep as well. Suddenly, despite having apparently no money, he's suddenly got the money to be able to stay in that lodge. It's been signed off by the king's sort of money people. Where has that money come from?
Well, that's, I think, a question that a lot of people will be asking, because he's been going around pleading poverty a bit. And so suddenly he must have called on some of his friends. Now, the people looking at his money have said it's all above board. So if he says he can afford it, and he's proved, shown the funds are there, but this 55-year-old lease on this 30-room mansion is also a complicated one, because he has to maintain it in the style to which he found it, and it needs a lot of upkeep.
And old buildings cost a lot for the upkeep, don't they, as well? But you mentioned, for his friends, but I mean, we know last time he needed some money to help Fergie, his Duchess of Sarah Ferguson, out of some financial difficulties. He went to Jeffrey Epstein, his friendly paedophile friend, to ask him for some money. By the way, after he was convicted of child sex trafficking, extraordinarily. He's got some very questionable friends, many, should we say, overseas business people, and others. I mean, is there not any duty of care within the royals to say, well, yes, you've got the funds, but where did they come from, and are they from a suitable person to be bankrolling a British royal?
Well, you'd hope that they've done exactly that, a sort of due diligence on his funds, because he's also got to pay for his security, because he's outside the Windsor Castle bubble. So this is not going to be cheap for him to maintain there. And I suppose a lot of people still head-scratching, why does he need to still live there when he could go for the easy option of basically downsizing into Frogmore Cottage? But if it's been checked out that this is all above board, then in a sense the king is powerless to boot him out, because he has this 55-year-old lease in the house, on the house.
We also know that Prince Charles is quite happy to take money from some questionable sources, carrier bags full of cash from a Qatari politician. That's not a problem for him. I think there were Harrods plastic bags, weren't they? The huge bag containing millions $500,000 or something in euros was handed to King Charles when he was prince to give to his charity, one of his charities. But nevertheless, the royals perhaps quite happy to keep in with anyone, let's be honest, who can shower them with cash.
Well, unfortunately, the royals do have a habit of people wanting to be associated with them. Look, we've been seeing Donald Trump proudly showing photographs of the royal family, and how proud he was that he was with the king and he's with the queen. So they, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which they do attract people want to be associated.
Donald Trump was at least a democratically elected president of our biggest ally, not some, dodgy billionaire somewhere. Just finally, I just want to ask you about Tim Shipman, my colleague here, who's former political editor of the Sunday Times, old colleague of mine, got his brand new book, the fourth of his, what's the equivalent of a trilogy, a quadrilogy, all about sort of post-Brexit and all those years. And in his new book, he has claimed that the late Queen Queen made a very cutting remark about Boris Johnson before she died, joking at a family gathering in Balmoral, "At least I won't have that idiot organising my funeral now." She'd later apparently said that Boris was better suited to the stage than to being Prime Minister. First of all, do you think that's the sort of thing she would have said? And do you think, secondly, whether she actually said it?
I think she's always had a twinkle in her eye, so she could have. But let's be quite clear, Boris was not organising the funeral. That was
exactly
done. So in a way, I think you have to say this might have been a little after-dinner conversation, because I'm sure a lot of people probably shared that view about Boris Johnson. So therefore, for the Queen, with her twinkle, but in terms of her actually, Boris organising the funeral, no, that has been taken care of.
That is long organised, isn't it? Really good to talk to you, Rupert Bell, Talks Royal correspondent. Thank you very much.